August 17th, 2021 episode of the Good Podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest. Y'all already know what's going on. Your boy Mike. I got Shane with me. What up, Shane?
What's good?
I got Kevin, aka the Schwab.
We really should come up with names for these shows.
I got Prentice, aka P Jack. What's the word, dog?
What's good, yo?
We got DJ, aka DJ.
What's up, bro?
All right, man. We ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna get right into it. We had a fun, weekend or so of NFL football. Rookie quarterbacks and second-year guys as well had a spotlight on them this weekend. This is I kind of repping Chicago right here. What's that? Repping Chicago right here. So it's not necessarily a Chicago-based show. We got a lot of Chicago fans that watch and that's on here. So we're gonna start with Justin Fields. So I also feel like I had the best performance out of all these guys we're gonna talk about. So Kevin, we're gonna start with you. What did you think?
Rough start, but came on real good in the second half, which nice to see. He didn't let himself get too low, and it would have been really easy to, like the way things were going that first half. He's got the one series where he throws a ball into triple coverage that should have been picked, and immediately the next play fumbles. And rebounded nicely at the end of the first half, took him down the field to get him in field goal position. Came out firing in the second half, so I'd say definitely more good than bad.
What would you rate his performance out of 10?
Probably about a 7.
All right, I think that's fair. DJ, your take?
Schwab hit a lot of good points. I would want to focus on what he said after the game. That's been a real big topic for people talking. And so I watched his whole post game interview. And so you always want your quarterback to be confident, and everybody making a big deal him saying the game was slow, but that's not really what he said. He was saying that basically he's not overwhelmed because he played a top tier defense, and so he got to deal with Khalil Mack coming off the edge versus whoever the second string guy from the Dolphins was, and that's going to hit different. And so people really made a really big deal out of it, and those are people that really didn't know the full context of the of what he was saying post game. And I feel that needs to be addressed more because you want your quarterback to be confident, and I hate when people just take clips and then they don't really tell the whole story. So then you got hefty guys well, you only played against backups, or well, it's only the preseason or XYZ. And it's would you ever want your quarterback to say, man, the game was way too fast for me? Even if it was, just lie. I'm not going up there giving y'all something so y'all can nitpick later. And so really, I feel he did a good job for the spot he was in, the guys he was with, and yeah, I'm just ready to see more.
I want to piggyback off that. Have any of y'all played football, high school or college?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing, especially when you play with a bunch of newcomers, is you can never duplicate the speed of the game. My first high school game, my first college game, those are games I'll never forget because the speed was just something that you can't prepare for. And the thing about Justin Fields was the speed of the game didn't look like a problem to him. So when he made those comments, I knew what he was saying. He looked poised out there. He looked like a kid that was ready to become a starter after week 2, week 3. So I mean, I understand the negativity that came from his comments because he's a rookie, and you talk about the speed of the game. The speed of the game should be fast to you in your first start at NFL. So when he come out with that confidence, I was like, "Fuck!"
And he had the
they
most
got a
time
quarterback.
to throw.
He confident and come out and saying the speed of the game was nothing to me. I just got to hit my reads and do what I need to do.
Yeah, and like he had the most time. Like he had like an average of like four seconds. So it was really blocked well. And like really all of that don't mean nothing if you got all day and then you still like missing throws and then you not connecting. And so like he had time and he used his time well. Like Schwab said, the game started off kind of shaky, but for him to come back in that next half and really, get that team like to score as many times as they did. For me, that's pretty good. And then even when he got like hit and then pushed back on that play, and then he like rolled out, like still like he was still looking downfield, like constantly looking downfield because all these guys get on TV and say, well, is he just gonna want to run and pull the ball down and run, blah blah? But like, no, he was looking to throw, and that's what he does. Now, if you're gonna give me this lane, I'm gonna outrun all of y'all because I run a 4.4, and well, good luck. And so, like, he really was confident, and he looked good to me.
The two things that I saw this weekend with rookie quarterbacks, I saw with Trey Lance too, was when both of them made plays, the reaction from his teammates on the sideline. Like it's a different culture. Like, yeah, you might got guys in front of you that's gonna start, but I think the players on the sideline is kind of rooting for that young buck to get his chance, and they're gonna galvanize around him and they're gonna try to make a run. I saw it with the Bears, I saw it with the 49ers. I didn't expect to see it with the 49ers, but when I saw it, I was shocked.
Shane, you want to chime in at all on Jay Fields? That's going to be the bane of your existence for the next 15 years. So I just want to know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't disagree with anything any of you said. You all made good points, fair points. I just I just can't go there with the preseason. I just can't really put any, like even like when I'm talking shit about Tua, who I hate, when he threw that horrendous pick in the end zone in a double coverage. Like, who gives a shit? Like, it means nothing. Like, these games, like, yeah, you could talk about Justin Fields. Well, he was going against backups. Well, he also didn't have David Montgomery in the backfield or Allen Robinson. Like, it says you could play that game all across the league for guys that didn't play and guys that did play. It's just, I would say, like, if I took one thing from any of them, it was that you could see Justin Fields' like speed, like Prentice was saying, his speed is going to translate to the NFL. Because like we see guys in college all the time that are mobile quarterbacks that can get away with what they do in college, but when they get to the pros, those defensive ends, those linebackers, they're running with you. Fields, like you could see he's got that NFL quarterback speed. Like that's kind of the one thing I'd really noticed when watching him. Like the throws, the turnover, like that just doesn't mean shit. But like the speed that matters, and you could see like that's especially in today's NFL, like where quarterbacks like that, like mobile quarterbacks are thriving again, right? And Fields is probably going to be that guy where he's making a lot of plays with his feet.
I think you're half right where. As far as the preseason is concerned, where it's kind of like that saying in baseball, you can't win the pennant in May, but you can lose it. You want to see you guys looking good in the preseason. If they do, it's like, okay, this is what you should be doing. But when you got to turn the ball over, throwing into double coverage in the end zone, that's not a good sign, especially when coordinators aren't even breaking out their A material yet.
What you call a Tua what?
Tua turn the ball over?
All right, I like that.
Yeah, I mean the way I treat preseason is like just like a fan of the Packers or just a fan of the sport, right? You just hope that your guys make it to week one in one piece. Don't get hurt.
Jordan Love got hurt. He didn't get to exercise that shoulder, and then he messed it up.
Yeah, he got dinged up a little bit. He might play this weekend. He might not. What are you gonna do? That's what you want. You hope that guys don't get hurt. I don't care if a ball gets tipped or somebody gets picked off or a fumble or like, I mean, that I'll say with it, that bomb that Trey Lance threw, that was like, all right, this is what you saw, Shanahan.
Yes, sir.
Because that's another thing like that I was thinking, like watching Fields and Lance, right? and I've said this on this show many times, I am not good at projecting college quarterbacks into what they're going to be in the pros. But I'm watching Justin Fields a lot in college, right? And I'm just like, man, like what am I missing here? Like why is this guy not the second overall? Like I understand why Lawrence was 1, but I'm thinking to myself, like, why isn't Fields like a shoe-in for number 2? And
I've been saying that the whole time. Like I do not know.
That question really blew up in my head when I noted when Kyle Shanahan, and this isn't to talk down on Fields. You guys know how what I honestly think Fields is going to be. I think very highly of him. But why did Kyle Shanahan, who in my opinion is as good of an evaluator as there is in the entire league, and you know how I feel about coaches. Most of them are terrible. When you can find somebody like Kyle Shanahan that's very good, you know, he deserves the respect. Why was Fields never on Shanahan's radar? Like he wanted Lance, and he paid a premium for Lance. But why was Fields never on his radar?
But then why was Mac Jones? Or why was allegedly Mac?
I don't believe Mac Jones. I don't believe Mac Jones was ever on his radar. I think that was nothing but a smokescreen. I think he decided in February that they were going to do that. He was going to go find a way to get Trey Lance. That was his guy. Now I'm not saying it like as a downgrade on Fields. I'm just wondering, like, what is there something we're missing as far as like Fields, or is like Lance really about to be that guy?
What do they know that we don't all know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying like, I'm just wondering out loud. Like, what am I missing here? Like, what is it? Is it that Fields is there something Shanahan just didn't like about Fields, or is this like Lance really about to be like that guy?
Yeah, it's Mahomes. It's everything's to do. It's not Mahomes. I thought Lance, if he hits his ceiling, is going to be MVP Cam. That type of quarterback. So I wouldn't interpret that as a dig at Fields at all. I think there were 4 guys, again, that, you know, were worthy of a top 15, 16 pick. It's just how ridiculously good this class was.
Yeah, I don't know. As an Ohio State fan and a Bears fan, I'm very excited to see what Justin Fields does. Schwab, you say Lance's ceiling is MVP. I think Fields' ceiling is Hall of Fame. So got a lot of time to talk about it.
You know, I honestly don't have a good comparison for Justin Fields because we haven't seen anybody.
There are no comparisons to these guys now. We haven't seen guys like this. We haven't. You have to
somebody with all the tools.
The whole comparison thing is pointless.
There is no comparison no more. Like there is no, this guy's gonna be Peyton Manning. This guy, there is none of that no more because we haven't seen these types of stud quarterbacks. So.
Well, we've seen a guy like Lance. Like I said, I think he compares a lot to Cam Newton. As far as Fields, the best I could come up with was
wait. Why you say Cam? Like they're completely different. Like body type, style, all that stuff to me is like completely different.
Well, compared to Cam, you got to start with the body.
Yeah, exactly. Like you gotta, like Lance is.
Yeah, we just gonna move on.
That's different.
I appreciate y'all bringing that Lance, especially Shane making that question because it is a question of, it's a coin flip between a couple of the guys. And we haven't even talked about Zach Wilson yet. I actually left him out of our rundown because that's my boy. He had probably the least stellar performance, but we'll get to that. But
he's busy talking to his mom about mask mandates. She's some wacko.
We'll keep that some wacko segment to me. Shout out BYU family. Prentice, I want to hear from you first about Trey Lance. Let us know what you like, man. You talked about the sideline and the camaraderie with him. Obviously, I noticed that myself as well. And you play football, so that locker room is like, especially that quarterback position.
Eat it.
That's important. So talk to us.
Well, the thing about Shanahan that we talk about evaluating with quarterbacks was Shanahan is a play action quarterback on the move. He don't have to run, but he's on the move and he can make throws on the run. And we've seen Lance do it in practice and even that touchdown that he threw. Like, it's exciting. I don't know if he's going to play within the first 6 weeks, but I tell you what, Jimmy G gonna have a hard time keeping that job. I mean, John Lynch and Shanahan gave him no type of guarantees, or they tried to trade him this offseason. So it's only a matter of time. Even with the tough schedule that we have, you say we start 3-2, it's a good chance Lance could be taking over week 6, and I'm fine with that. I thought it was a year long, and I don't want to jump into, like Shane said, it's preseason. I don't want to put too much stock into preseason, but just the way that I've seen the team just get excited for him and some of the throws I've seen him make, like he looked NFL ready. And I was excited to not draft Mac Jones, but now I'm starting to get that hype that y'all got with Justin Fields. Like I'm starting to. I'm not there yet like y'all are. Y'all overboard with it, but I'm getting to that point where I'm like, I think we got a young stud back there at quarterback, and when he get his opportunity, he's gonna be tough.
Oh, I think he's gonna start week 1.
Really?
This is to me, it's even more of a no-brainer at this point to put Lance in than Fields, because Jimmy G is just a dead man walking. Like, he's not in the team's plan. Like, you traded up all your capital for this guy. So what are you going to do? You're going to put Garoppolo in for 3 or 4 games, then go to Lance? Like, what is this? Like, you have a team that can legitimately win the Super Bowl. So I don't understand why. And I believe that their decision is probably made on what they're going to do for week 1. I don't think they need to see any more from Lance. Like, all the reviews, everybody's been raving about how good Lance looks in practice, this, that, and the other. So what are you doing? You're playing at Detroit week 1. Perfect situation to get Lance in there. Perfect. Like, where you have like Fields, where like you're at the road Sunday night against the Rams. Maybe, okay, fine. You don't really want to do that. I guess I'll buy that explanation, but at this point I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if Lance is not the week 1 starter. It just doesn't make any sense to put Garoppolo in when like how do you go into that game knowing that this guy's got at best like a 5 or 6 week window here, and we have a team that can go win the Super Bowl. So what are we doing?
Well, that's true. Yeah, but you still got to get him ready. He still got to be accustomed to the speed of the game and get that playbook. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't have the playbook, but Garoppolo would be a super expensive backup to just be sitting on the sidelines collecting checks.
I don't understand, like, how is Lance going to be more ready in week 5 or 6 than he would be in week 1 if he's not playing? And like, at that point, like, you want to prep this guy for as long as you can because you want to make a Super Bowl run.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you. Just week 1, I just have a hard time believing that's going to happen.
I think it's going to. We'll revisit this obviously, but I think like I think the pressure's on. I think like they get it, and
they're also in a tough spot too. I mean, it's no different from Chicago. You're going to watch Jacksonville, and you're going to watch the Jets roll out their rookie quarterbacks, and then you got fan bases that are watching your team that took top 10 quarterbacks. Fan bases that don't have that patience no more. We want to see our guy now. Let's throw him out there regardless of the circumstances. And the 49ers are in a good situation to play with a rookie quarterback more so than the Bears are. But at the end of the day, I still want to see both of them out there week 1.
It's the thing. It's a little bit different of a situation. And I think the biggest surprise of week 1 of the preseason was just how ready Lance did look. But it's kind of like, okay, the teams that stink, Jacksonville, New York, they're going to throw their guy out there because you might as well. You're going to stink anyway. San Francisco, if they put Lance out there, it's because they think, like Shane's saying, he's going to give them the best chance to win the Super Bowl. The Bears are kind of in between there. Where they're not going to be terrible. Like with Dalton, if Dalton plays all year, or if the Fields comes in at some point, they're probably a playoff team. They're not going to go very far.
At least in the conversation. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them winning 10, 11 games, but they're not a Super Bowl team right now.
But that's not bad with a rookie quarterback, though.
No, that's not at all. But okay, but to that point, like how you have a legitimate shot in San Francisco to go win the Super Bowl.
Right. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it's not the same situation.
So how do you roll
with the Bears,
out?
It's like they're not a Super Bowl team anyway, so why not let Fields get it as ready as he possibly can when next year, if he's the guy, then they can take that leap and they can be a contender.
Are the 49ers still a Super Bowl contender with Jimmy G?
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
Jimmy G fan, and nothing about him is like, oh man, this dude is great. But the only thing I do know is that when he's in and he's in that 49er jersey, they win games. Their record is pretty good, and
Bus driver.
Buddy Buddy
Bus
had
driver.
them Buddy had them in the Super Bowl. Now, if he make that throw, they win it, or if Shanahan call a better fourth quarter, they win it. But like, I mean, when he's in, they win a lot of games, and you really can't say that. So I think they just want him to get like hurt or something, and then like be forced to bring Lance in because Lance looked like a guy that haven't played football in a long time, but then he also looked special because of that throw, which could have been like better. They said like he didn't really have his feet set or something. The ball was like wobbly, so like I saw why they picked him, but at the same time, he did look like a guy that haven't picked up a ball in a long time in a game as well. Cause like 5 for 14, fumbling, taking sacks, all type of like rookie type stuff that you're going to deal with. And so I think Shanahan is the right guy for them, but Jimmy G, he win games for them. That's the only thing. And I'm
He
not a
didn't win
fan. Like,
games for them. He's a guy that they can win games with.
I mean, but if
when
you look
you're
at their
winning-
record, if you look at their record with him and with everybody else, like, bruh, it's
Well,
crazy.
with him with the roster being healthy. That's the that's
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, of
That's what
course,
I'm
like
saying.
nobody winning.
They're a
What's
running
the
back
worst?
factory. Like it didn't matter who they put in their running back, they went and got theirs. If Kittle is healthy, y'all know I'm a huge Kittle fan. Like if dude is healthy, he's one of the best players in the NFL. Period. Like he played winning ball too. But with Jimmy G, it's just different. Like I think they're a Super Bowl team still with Jimmy G, or contender rather. And their division is, you can argue and say that's the toughest division, like top to bottom in the NFL. So you're gonna be battle tested if they make it just into the playoffs. You have to go through the gauntlet because all of them teams are bringing it weekly. The Rams got better. They got better because they improved in the one real light area they really have as quarterback.
Mike,
the Cardinals got one of them stud quarterbacks we talking about. It used to be Kyler Murray. Like he for real. You know, they have weapons there. And of course Seattle, you know, we just gotta see what version of Seattle we got. So
that division, you made my next point for me. That division is so good. You don't got time to fuck around with what you're gonna do with your quarterback. You traded up for this guy. You love this guy. This is your future. You think he can win now. Put him in and go. Like, you don't have time to say, all right, well, maybe we're going to pull Jimmy G if this happens. Like, you don't have time for that. This is probably the best division of football. I don't even think it's actually, it's clearly the best division in football. So, like, I don't know. Like, I think, and I could be wrong here, but
it's depending on what you think of the AFC North, yeah.
I think Trey Lance is the week 1 starter. And I'll kind of be surprised if he's not.
DJ, give me the final word. What you think? Is that a possibility, or are we gonna wait in week 5, 6?
Shane made some good points. You know, it's so tough because if you have a Super Bowl contending roster and the battle was close, then you just roll with the rookie. I mean, it just makes sense. But if you still feel like you got some hiccups and some stuff that you got to work on, I could totally see a hardball situation where, you know, Alex Smith got the reins for a few weeks, and then you secretly groom in Kaepernick to be the guy, you know, middle of the season. I could see that happening too. So I personally think it's going to be Garoppolo for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
So talk a little Zach Wilson before we get into Trevor Lawrence. I've seen mixed reviews about Zach Wilson myself. Kevin, I know you said he could possibly be, you know, down the line the best guy out of the class, you know, when we podcasting for the draft. So I'll start with you. Anything special you saw with Zach, or, you know, is it what you expected, or what you feeling about him?
I saw a lot of the same stuff I saw from Fields, where it was, you know, he looked more ready than I was expecting. Made some really nice throws, made good decisions. And given that, you know, it's the Jets, the fact that he looked as good as he did, I think it's an encouraging sign for him. So and my one concern there is the fact that they got was it Mike LaFleur running that offense, and not an offensive head coach. So we'll see how that plays out. But and it's the same thing in LA with Herbert and Lombardi. Yeah, it's certainly encouraging. I mean, a lot of guys really looking good so far this weekend.
I think Wilson probably has the least amount of pressure on him for all the rookies coming to the season because his team sucks. So
Lawrence.
nobody like the wins. I would argue. I don't know about that.
You know what? I think you're right. I wouldn't take that back. You're right because if Wilson struggles this year, the inevitable is going to be why didn't they take Fields? Why didn't they take Lance? If Lawrence struggles, it's like okay, well, you know he was projected.
Yeah,
to be
but
the number
Wilson will get a year-long pass though because his team sucks.
He's gonna get a pass.
And like I mean.
No, if Wilson struggles this year, it doesn't matter how bad the Jets stink, especially if Lance and especially if Fields see the field this year and they play well in New York, no less. Yeah, he's going to be hearing about it.
And we haven't even mentioned Mac Jones of all the like.
We'll talk about Mac Jones. Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, do you guys got any other Wilson takes?
Oh, do you think the media will come for Zach Wilson?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
New York, bro.
It's New York City.
You kidding?
I will slightly like you made some good points, Schwab, about if like especially if Lance and Fields were picked behind him. But I think like there's at least a year honeymoon for a rookie.
Yeah, I don't think they come
Not
for
in
him.
New York. Not in New York.
I'm with Straub on this one. Like New York City, man, like everything is a issue. Like they was talking about one random practice. He threw like five picks, and well, guys don't know. We don't really trust them with blah blah blah. And then you just hearing like all these stories, and then like all these stories is like coming out. Like I haven't heard nothing about Trevor Lawrence. Like I haven't heard nothing about these other guys like Lance or nothing. But like stuff about Zach Wilson has been like coming out. And so, like, I'm not sure how nice New York media is going to be. The best thing for him is that he hasn't said nothing stupid.
Right. And with Lawrence, though, it's like he's easily the third biggest story in Jacksonville behind Tim Tebow and the Khan family's wrestling promotion.
Yeah, it's sad but true. I mean, no, that's the good point. Of like, if you put Wilson in Jacksonville and Lawrence in New York, like, it would be completely changed up. I mean, Wilson, that's the thing, though. The Jets are so bad. Wilson could play well, and they're still going to lose a lot of games. So I think it's just,
I think he makes the most sense to be this year's Justin Herbert.
Wins and losses really don't mean anything for Wilson himself. It's just how's he look, right? Because, I mean...
Hold on.
That's tough, bro. No, come on, man. No, we can't let that one slide.
All right, Shane, you got to catch this straight.
We get some hot takes. These hot takes need to be written down and
dated. Come on, man.
Like
didn't Herbert have the best rookie quarterback season ever? Like,
yeah,
the white guys. I'm sorry.
So that means that you are putting him on pace to have one of the best rookie quarterback seasons ever with the Jets and their limited everything. Like you already said, they coach, they're like skill players. Everything is like stacked up against them. I don't know how good their line is, but it's the Jets, so I'm assuming that it's trash. And like that's
so are the Chargers. So are the Chargers. That was my point.
But the Chargers had like pieces. Like the Chargers had like what pieces are you looking at for the Jets? Like if I'm throwing to Denzel Mims versus Keenan Allen, bro, like it's going to hit different. And then like Austin Eckler, and they can run the ball and all this. Like they got pieces. Like they got guys. Like you can't name me the Jets 2 starting wideouts right now. Like I don't know who can besides a coach. Like nah, bro.
Denzel Mims.
I just said that name.
Yeah, right. No, you're right. I'm trying to think.
Like, who they tight end? Like, bro, who can be running the ball for them? Like, it's a lot that goes into it. Like the Chargers was already set. It was already built. They're just choking the fourth quarter. I can't say that about no Jets team that should have had the number 1 pick, but they lucked up and like won a game, and now they switch.
And I'm on record. I'm on record saying Salah is going to be a disaster. I'm telling you guys this shit too. He started with his clown shit the other day too, running the steps before the game to show how big and strong and tough he is. He's a football guy. It's going to be a disaster. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. If Wilson is going to
positive sign.
If Wilson is going to be like succeed, it's got to be under a different coach, because this guy is going to be bad.
I want that.
I'm telling you, 4th and 2 on the 42. He's sending the punt unit out. We got to pin him back. We got to play defense. We got to flip the field. I'm getting those vibes from Salah. It's happening. It's going to be a disaster.
All right, man. We gonna move on. God damn. We're gonna talk about Trevor Lawrence, man. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence the last. No. We're gonna go to Mac Jones. Mac Jones, Shane. Mac Jones.
Start him week 1. Look, and I've been a Cam Newton fan his entire career. I will go down saying that was the 2011 Auburn season was one of the most incredible things I've ever witnessed, especially considering like what he had on that team. Like that's a whole nother thing. Like he's incredible. It's over. He's got nothing left. He just can't play anymore. He's got no arm. He can't move as well as he used to, which was like his, one of his biggest strengths, especially that MVP season. It's over. He just cannot be an effective starting quarterback anymore. I mean, you drafted Mac Jones, Bill Belichick. Just go ahead. If you believe that's your guy, just give him the keys week 1. I don't really see a reason at this point why you wouldn't.
Kevin,
and it hurts to say about Cam, because I like Cam a lot. Like I've liked him as a player. I like the guy. I mean, there's nothing. It's over.
Cam was my favorite player. I feel that. Kevin, what you think about Mac?
I didn't see a lot of him this weekend. But just coming out of college, I thought he was one of the guys that might be ready the quickest. I don't think he's got a particularly high ceiling or anything. Shane's right. It's over for Cam, though. So it depends on what the Patriots think of their team, because I think they could be kind of in the same boat the Bears are in, where they're probably a playoff team, maybe a playoff team, but they're not a Super Bowl contender. So, I mean, whatever, it's a matter of what they think of Jones. If they think he's ready to go, then roll him out now. If they want to give him time to develop, that's probably fine too, because you're not going anywhere this year anyway.
So like, I don't like Mac Jones. Like, I don't like Bama. I don't like the Patriots. But what I can say is that he like, I did watch when he was in, and like he kept them like on like target, on schedule. The thing about him is that he's not going to be special. Like Schwab just said, his ceiling is like limited because he can't throw the ball down the field. So 15 yards and like in maybe, like that's his area. But if you like really want to be special, like that ball gotta go 20 yards and more. And then they was talking about them practicing against Philly this week, and the DBs know like, hey, we about to sit on all these routes because these dudes ain't running go routes, because who gonna throw them the ball? And so like, if you already know that and you a rookie and they talking about you can't throw down the field, like it don't get better. Like you don't just wake up and then you just get stronger and now you can just throw the ball down the field and be more accurate. But I feel like he's going to be a prototypical type of like drop back quarterback, and for him, he has to stay on target. Like he has to stay on like schedule. He can't get into them long third downs, and because when that pressure comes, it's gonna be hard because he can't get out the pocket. And so if you keep them on target and you keep them, like where they need to be at, and they not having a bunch of negative plays, he gonna be solid. He gonna be like good, but he's not gonna be great. I don't think. Like he's not gonna. They was trying to say, well, Brady was this, Brady was that, but I was like, Brady could throw the ball down the field, so y'all could stop all of that noise. And like in that in that 50 touchdown season, the ball was going to Randy Moss 30 yards down the field, and I don't know if Mac Jones can do that. And so like, he gonna be solid, but like, is he gonna be like great or special? I'm not saying that, but I feel like that they like him more than they like Cam, but I still think they still might start Cam though, just because.
You know, just to bring all of this full circle, you know, with that description, and I think it's an accurate description. What it reminds me of is Andy Dalton.
Bro, I swear to God, I was thinking that. He's fucking Andy Dalton.
Mac Jones is better than Andy Dalton. I agree with that. Like a lot of what DJ just said, but like I don't think Mac Jones, like Dalton turns the ball over, he takes sacks. Like I think, and especially around Belichick, McDaniels, whatever.
No, he know where to go with the ball. Like
yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be turning it over though.
We're all in agreement. Like I don't think he's gonna come in and be some scrub like Tua or something. But I think he's gonna like. Realistically, what are you winning with Mac Jones is probably the question about him, and it's probably not maybe hang around, like Schwab said, for contend for one of those final wild card spots. All right, I guess, but yeah.
Well, you figure Buffalo should be ready to go this year, and I mean I don't think New England's going to be bad necessarily, but
no, I mean I don't think they're going to be bad. Like me and Mike talked about this on the betting show the other night. I mean it was weird. Like they just went out and spent all this money on guys. You're kind of like, really? Like Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. Okay,
most money ever.
Yeah, like all right,
most money ever.
It was kind of a confusing thing. It was like.
It was a very anti-Patriots off-season for them.
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, but it was because they spent all that money, but then it wasn't because when's the last time they went to go get like all these big name free agents? And so like they been winning with like guys. Grunk was special, and then they got Randy Moss that year. And then he's special, but like usually they win with like just guys, and so they went to go get a bunch of guys, and so they thinking like if we keep Mac Jones on target, we can win games, and we don't necessarily need a whole bunch of like special offensive guys because our system is going to do the rest, and that's what I'm thinking that they was thinking because
100%,
guys accomplishing that.
But Shane, I hated your comments about Cam because, and the only reason I say that is because the Patriots got hit with COVID, probably worse than any team in the league last year. Like they have almost a third of their defensive players I felt like sat out, and Cam played all right in the first half of the season, and he caught COVID, and he just wasn't the same player. And I think they'll be more competitive this year. I mean, like you said, is that a playoff spot? Probably, but nothing more than that. Regardless, either quarterback gonna play mistake-free football. That's what I see. It's either Cam or Mac Jones. It ain't gonna be a lot of touchdowns.
It feels like if they start Cam, the leash is gonna be short.
Probably that's what I agree with that.
And that's why it's just kind of like.
I think it's gonna be either one. I think the leash is gonna be short regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Cam goes out and he can play.
But the thing with starting those rookies, though, you can't go back to the veteran. Once you start them, bro, you got to rat that out. Because once you go to the veteran, like, what you doing with this rookie? So once they start these guys, they got to, finish the season. I mean, everybody not doing that silly Miami stuff. Like, everybody not doing that. Like, it's only one Miami, and
that's not something that happens normally. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like everybody don't do that, and then they almost did that until they got to the playoffs, which was good. And Miami probably still gonna be solid this year, but you really can't go back.
Did you hear those comments Fitzpatrick made? He was pissed.
No. What'd he say? I heard him saying it, but I didn't hear it.
He basically tried to say in the nicest way possible, like, you guys took me out for this motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
Like go read the comments. You could see through it. Like, dude, I mean, that was, I'm all Miami Dolphins taked out. Me and Mike talked about it at the betting show the other night. I mean, I don't know. It's just back to New England though. Like you look at that division and Buffalo's clearly the class, and then you have like Miami and New England. You feel like they're going to probably compete for the wild card spots, but it's you get in these weird spots like New England, right? It's like you spend all this money, you draft Mac Jones, like you're not going to be bad, but you're not going to be like good enough to matter. It's like these teams in the NBA that fight for hell for like the 7th or 8th seed when you're going to get swept or losing 5 in the first round and you miss out on the lottery, right? It's like I don't really know what New England's plan was. Let's just throw all this money around and try and maybe get the 7th seed, maybe the 6th seed. Okay, well we're sure as hell
You can
not.
at least understand that in the NFL. It's like, okay, any given Sunday, maybe they get hot at the right time. You never know. It's at least a chance. In the NBA, you're exactly right. 8 seeds are not going to the finals. I mean,
it just
not unless
felt,
you had a situation like this year where, like the Lakers, if they had been able to stay healthy and do it. But yeah,
I mean, but in the past couple of years, like in the NBA though, like guys been getting hurt, and then you had these teams winning these championships.
sure.
So like even then though, like now that's going to like open the door for these teams thinking like, hey, if we get in, somebody roll an ankle, bro, we can make some noise. And so like I can't even think about that. Like we had the Hawks in the finals, like Hawks and Bucks, and they ain't been in there in 50 years and all this. Like, I mean, so yeah, like you
They
don't want to
gave, they
just
gave Nelson Aguilar like $5 million more per than he was getting anywhere else on the market. I mean, Hunter Henry. I mean, how many games does that guy play a year?
out
John Smith. He's got a new injury every week. It was kind of like a bizarre.
I don't know who was even like available, like, but they got a lot of the guys that was available. I don't like. I think they thinking that the Patriot way is going to get them to where they need to be at, and
Well, I
then
think
any given
The
Sunday.
Patriots way is long gone. That's past its
That's
prime,
what,
and it ain't coming
like
this
back.
to me.
isn't the
That's
Patriots way though. This is
no.
the opposite of the
I'm
Patriots way.
saying like not as far as like the spending money part,
Right.
but hey, we gonna win with these guys. We don't need the superstars. We gonna win with
Right.
these guys. As long as our
But these
quarterback,
aren't just
as long as
guys.
our
Johnny
quarter,
Smith isn't just a guy. Hunter Henry isn't just a guy.
I mean, but
I
that's
mean,
not.
when they're healthy, they're
But
they're
that,
really. I mean, they're good players. They're A minus kind of guys.
but
The
they're
issue
not.
is that they can never stay healthy.
Yeah, so
This
then
is
they
the
not top
opposite of like
tier. They're not Darren Waller. That's not Kelsey. That's not
no, but
whoever
like they're
else you
probably the
want to name.
next one down.
Yeah, but they don't go and get those guys. Like they might get those guys
Nobody
from
does.
like
Those
defense.
guys don't. Those guys aren't out there. Their
I
teams
mean,
pay them huge sums of money because they don't want to let them go or they tag them or what have you. I mean,
yeah.
my point is that this is the opposite of like Moneyball.
But then
Or if you've
Nelson.
seen
But
that,
then what about Nelson Aguilar? Like that doesn't make sense. Like you gave him a nice
that's what I'm
amount of
saying.
bread.
This is the opposite of that.
But he's just a guy. They feel
Yeah,
like
but
they can win with guys.
they also took old boy from Baltimore. What's his name? Play linebacker. He pretty
Oh
decent
yeah,
player.
yeah. So then they do that for like defense every now and then.
But all the moves wasn't bad. I mean, I
Yeah,
thought
no, they're
Who was-
they're
who was
like
a-
they're a decent team, right? It's like they're not, they don't. I don't know what their plan is. Like, all right, woohoo, let's go 9-8, and then maybe make a playoff game and get washed by one of those top teams. It was just, I don't know. I like for so many years we just knew the Patriots were always going to be there at the end, right? Just always. They're like, and it's just one of those things like it just bam came to an end.
And regard, and like you said, decent team, Hall of Fame coach, rookie quarterback. Brandon, I share your sadness with Cam, man, because that was my favorite player, man.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to say. I just.
Yeah, you said that too, Shay. It sucks, and it's like we'll see. Okay, we'll talk about number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence. We'll carve out a little time also for one of his former teammates as well, for my buddy Shane here. But Shane, I'll go with you because I'm gonna come back to you next guy too. I'm actually gonna come back to you for the next 2 guys. I'm gonna be happy with you right now. Let me know what you thought about Trevor Lawrence.
Kind of same thing I said about the other guys. Made some nice throws, like you could see the talent. Again, it's hard to imagine his team, winning many games this year, but Like I don't think they're that far away. Like that's the kind of like he's a franchise changing guy. You know, like I think their turnaround, especially playing in what's a pretty like weak division.
Lousy,
You know, like even
lousy,
like
you can say,
yeah, I
state.
mean, like even like the Colts are a good roster. It's a nice roster, but they don't have a quarterback. You know, the Titans have a. You know, we talked about this
They
the
don't
other
have a
night.
roster anymore either. Nelson got hurt, same way Wentz did.
Me and Mike talked about. We broke down Tennessee the other night on the betting show. I mean, like offensively, they're up there with anybody, right? And with the Julio addition, they're going to be even better. But their defense is horrible, and like they're the favorite to win that division. So like I think Jacksonville, like that's a team like in a year from now, like maybe you start putting the right pieces around Lawrence. I think they're like one of those. We always talk about like worst to first. Like I don't think they're that far away from that, based on just how good I think Lawrence will be and how mediocre that division is.
Do you have any faith in that organization, though?
No, but sometimes sometimes all it takes is that one player, especially we're talking about a quarterback here, to come in and completely change things.
I think you're right. It just, I mean, if
This is a team that made.
I think that point though isn't going to come until they stink long enough that they finally fire Urban Meyer.
But see, you gotta let that Urban Meyer shit go, because we gotta assess him. We have to assess him as an NFL coach.
I've already assessed him. He got the job, immediately hired the idiot strength coach from Iowa, brought in Tim Tebow as a tight end for no good reason. He has no idea what he's doing. He's doing the same thing that got him in trouble at Ohio State, hiring his buddies that are just incompetent boobs.
It has nothing to do with what's going on the field, though. We talking about a team that three seasons, 4 seasons ago, they was in the AFC Championship with Blake Bortles behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can sustain half of that and get that to Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence, I think sky's the limit with him. I think he is that. We talking like white boy.
You're right. If they can sustain it, they can't sustain it though because they don't know what they're doing.
Move has a powerful arm. Is that he's the new prototype of a quarterback. Like Burrow stole the show, right? Like nobody saw Burrow coming. Trevor Lawrence is next in line in that ilk. He is a prototype of an ilk here. I said Hall of Fame with Justin Fields. That's it. Trevor Lawrence will probably be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like if Andrew would have kept playing and never won shit, he would have ended up in the Hall. So I'm saying like that. I'm not talking GOAT, but I think Trevor Lawrence, like we saw him, this will be the worst we ever seen Trevor Lawrence. That'll be the worst he ever looks like. Because
I don't disagree at all. Everything you're saying, though, my issue is just with the organization.
Mike, Mike going in and out.
My bad. So this organization had Blake.
Organization Urban Meyer.
My mic fucked up.
You're kind of going in and out.
Organization or Urban Meyer?
All of it.
Is this better?
Look, yeah, that's better. Look, I think, Mike, you both made, like, Schwab's points about the start to the Urban Meyer era. There's no arguing that it's been terrible. Now, to Mike's point, though, we've seen Urban Meyer be a fantastic football coach. Like, I despise the man personally, but he is a very, very good football coach.
College.
It's a very different, recruiting. You're not recruiting anymore, right? You're not recruiting to Ohio State or Florida anymore. This is a whole different game. But I'm with Mike though. Like, let's wait for the games to start. Let's give it some more time. Now, I think one of the worst decisions he made, I said this on draft night on this show, I thought the ETN pick in the first round was horrific. When you win one game, or where they win 1 or 2 games last year or something, and you would just have a roster that you're basically building from scratch, and you managed to find James Robinson was undrafted, right?
Yeah.
And he had an incredible year. He was fantastic, right? He was winning fantasy football leagues for people. He was amazing. And you're building a roster, and you go draft a running back in the first round for a team that has holes pretty much everywhere. Like, what are you doing? Like that's just a horrible pick. And I mean, it's just they're Urban Meyer, and then you go with the Tebow stuff. I mean, it's fair to say, like, hey, like you ain't at Ohio State no more. Like you are not going to be able to get away with the same stuff you did there in the NFL. So,
Well,
and I will concede he's a fantastic football coach. So I will give it time and let's let the games play out. I'm not arguing with that at all. But you can't say it hasn't gotten off to a terrible start.
Right. And so we know those coaches don't translate over all the time. But I'm like, if we're gonna wait and see on the quarterbacks, you have to wait and see on the coaches. Sure. And I know you said the organization, but again, Blake Bortles, AFC Championship. It's probably like 10, 12 quarterbacks that if they would have been a quarterback on that team, you would have had the Jaguars in the Super Bowl.
But are any of those defensive players that made that team still
that's
there?
That's what I'm saying. They didn't sustain that. They didn't sustain that. That was a mistake. But every dog got
Why didn't they sustain it though? Why couldn't they sustain it?
Beats the hell out of me.
Because the people running that team don't know what they're doing.
I'm not a Jags fan, so I don't know. Prentice, what was you about to say?
Well, Super Bowl windows open and close quick, and they missed it. They waited on Burrows, and that was their problem. But the Travis Etienne pick, if he's drafted to a late team in the first round, that's a playoff team. Is that a bad pick? Was he still a first round talent?
In my opinion, we've had this conversation before. I'm never under any circumstances drafting a running back in the first round. Not anymore. Those days are over. And no, I'm not. Remember the Patriots a couple years ago when they drafted Sony Michel at the end of the first round? How'd that work out? Like, how did Saquon Barkley work out for the Giants? Like, what has that done to make their team better? And he's an incredible talent. He's probably the best running back in the league when he's healthy, right?
Well, that's the one pick I didn't agree with.
And it's like I just don't understand how you can justify taking a running back in the first round when your roster is horrific, and you managed to find an undrafted running back last year in James Robinson. That's fantastic, and you got him and you're paying him pennies. That's my issue. Like that's where it's like you especially in the NFL, man, you got to build a team around these guys. It's not college like like we were just talking about Mac Jones. Mac Jones, who was he throwing the ball to the last couple of years? Judy, Devontae Smith, Waddle.
Yeah, the Heisman winner.
Those
and,
but that goes
bunch of first round picks.
That goes back to my point. You got to stockpile talent. At the end of the day, you got to have talented players on your roster, regardless of what you're building around. If you ain't got talent, you ain't got guys that you can put the ball in their hands in space and make plays.
Man, Jacksonville do though. Like Jacksonville offensively, they shouldn't have too many issues. It's their defense, and that was the thing that got them to that AFC Championship game. Yeah. And so like Trevor Lawrence, like y'all was saying, like he looked good, but at times he looked passive, and him and the coach like admitted it, like he wasn't trusting himself to like make certain throws, and you can just tell like he didn't look right, like he was overthinking certain things. But back to Mike's point, like I think he's gonna be special. I think he's gonna be worthy of a number one pick. I think he's gonna be like a Andrew Luck type guy with just long hair. It's just that will they, like y'all was saying, will they be able to build a team around him? And hopefully his offensive line do not get him killed, because that's the one thing. Yeah, like that's the one thing. Like great quarterbacks can overcome bad offensive lines, and like that's a lot to ask of them. But then they can also be, like you said, like Joe last year. And so you never want to put a guy in harm's way that's supposed to be your future. Like you need to get that line together, because that was the one thing that stood out besides him looking kind of passive, was that line, man, like they couldn't like hold up. And I don't know how they was like blocking for James Robinson last year, but pass blocking, bro, like it didn't look too well for their first game. Now I don't know how many starters they had out there, but I did actually watch that game, and like that was the thing that stood out for me, was that offensive line.
There's a couple decent receivers on the team, like Laviska Shenault they like a lot, DJ Chark, right? I mean, there's
and they got Marvin Jones now.
Yeah,
which I didn't know that. Like they got talent. Offense is not gonna be the problem for me.
And I'll say this too about Lawrence. I feel like I'm not gonna say it's underrated, because I think people that pay attention give him the credit where it's due, but he has that sneaky, deceptive white guy speed. He can move. Like he can
move.
He's a mobile guy. Like he's not gonna run a 4.4 like Field or something.
Oh, that's the playoff together.
But he can Like, I think, he's not just a pocket guy. Like, he can move and he's big. And I mean,
that's part of it. Like, if he was just a pocket guy, I'm not sure if he was getting drafted number 1 because, like, guys was like they really going away from that model. Like, if he just strictly stayed in a pocket, couldn't move and was like a statue, I'm not sure like his ceiling, his ceiling wouldn't be that high because part of like what makes him special is that once you fall asleep, he running down the field and then like he looking like Tannehill or somebody, and then you like, damn, I didn't know he had that. But like we've seen enough film where guys should know like, all right, this guy will like get loose on us.
I mean, there's a lot of like Mike wanted to really touch on the rookie quarterbacks in this show, and if you think about it, there's a lot of young talent at quarterback in this league. And even just looking at the sophomores, I mean, Burrow and Herbert to go along with like these. That's why I'm saying, like, as a fan of the sport, like, I want to see Trey Lance week 1. Ooh. I want to see Fields week 1. Like, I don't need to see these fucking stopgaps, especially that dork Ginger and pretty boy Garoppolo. Just get them out. Just put these rookies in. You drafted them. You paid all this capital for them. Skip the bullshit. Let's go. Play. Like, you're not going to sell me on sitting these guys. You're just not.
All right, so let's tap in one of the sophomores then. Since you want the sophomores to play, let's talk about your boy Jordan Love.
He's irrelevant right now because he's not going to see the field this year. So, I mean,
it was nice seeing him in pads, though. It was nice seeing him in pads. They didn't even let him fucking kneel last year. So
here's what I'll say about Jordan Love. I still have no clue what he's going to be in the league. None. I thought he made a couple good throws. He gets to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn. He's got one of the best schemers in the game, in the floor. We'll see. Like, I mean, he's not on the radar of what, of these young quarterbacks we're talking about because he's not going to play anytime soon.
What did you see, though?
He made a good throw, wide open to a guy. That was, I forgot. It might have been Sternberger, I think. He had a touchdown. He threw a touchdown.
Shane, you sound so defeated. Like, he said, "What did you see?" And you was like, "Well."
I mean, what do you want me to say? Couple good throws.
You said the league. You just said on the most previous thing. You said that the league, the fan that you are, you want to see the younger guy. And you had a younger guy featured though.
Well, yeah, and all those other younger guys are not playing behind anybody that can actually play in the league except Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Jordan Love needs to see the field over probably the best thrower of the football we've ever seen. I think Justin Fields, I think you can get him in over.
Didn't know he's backing up Patrick Mahomes. We wait for that though.
Can we give Mahomes a little more time?
No. That shit is going on right now.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers, the best football thrower, hasn't been in the fucking Super Bowl in a decade. He hasn't won a Super Bowl in a decade. I don't want to hear about that shit.
It was getting spicy.
Fuck the Packers. You know what's going on. But you know what, though?
The 49ers ran all over him, and Garoppolo only had to throw like 8 passes, and they went to the Super Bowl.
It was like 8 or 9 passes, something like that, or he completed 8 or 9 or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, that's the thing about that. That's the thing about Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, they got to the Super Bowl with him. Exactly what did he do? Rode the coattails of that defense, and a fucking running back ran for 200 yards in the NFC Championship. That I don't think, what was his name, Mostert or something? Mustard?
You know his name. Mostert.
Yeah. You know his name. I mean, yeah. So let's not give Garoppolo. Get Garoppolo the fuck out of here.
Who was the other guy? They had another guy that ran. Tevin Coleman ran all over him too. Yeah. They were opening up.
Tread lightly, Bears fan. We don't want to talk too much shit to the Packers fans because we still have to play them twice. So listen.
Yeah. These teams are usually the highlights of our season. So let's enjoy them.
Shane, I want to know why all the Tua hate, dog? Like, what did you not like about it?
It's absolutely nothing personal. I don't dislike the guy. I don't think. Have you guys ever heard him talk? Like, I've never even like heard him say a word. I don't think there's anything to dislike about the guy. It's not personal. It's not like Tim Tebow, who we'll get to in a minute. But I mean, it's just
Tua's a big Jesus freak too.
Oh God! All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think he's very good. First of all,
he's not as prominent with it as Tebow, but he openly talked about one of the reasons he decided on Alabama was there's a big Christian community there.
Man, why the Christian hate?
That should hate.
Good for him. He's got one leg. First of all, that injury is going to catch up with him later. That's why there was a lot of teams that did not even have him on their board because of his medicals coming in, right? So that's a red flag to begin with. He's not accurate. Makes bad decisions. He just ain't it, man. Like it's really that simple. I mean, you talk about a guy that had everything around him at Alabama. I mean, you can talk about Mac Jones the same way, but nobody's projecting Mac Jones to be some, NFL star. Like Mac Jones was taken behind all these other quarterbacks, right? So like it's not like anybody reached for Mac Jones. All those other quarterbacks we just talked about went before him. Like you took Tua before Herbert. And we talked about this last week. Like that's going to go down as what do we agree on? Darko over Carmelo. Like that's a horrific choice. And I'll tell you what, man, like there's no excuse for Tua at all anymore. Like this year, I mean, you got guys around him that can play. You drafted Jalen Waddle, you signed Will Fuller, you still got Devontae Parker. Like there's
Fuller always suspended and Parker always hurt.
Yeah, but when Fuller not suspended, that motherfucker going for 150
always.
And 2 tutties.
When he
I hear you though.
There's
There's
plenty of talent. There's plenty of talent around Tua. So I'm not trying to hear it if like he comes out the gate struggling. Like they played him last year because they were like forced to. Fitzpatrick was much better.
Quarterback. Like he gonna struggle.
He's the Hawaiian Cade McNown.
Come on, man.
That's what he is. Aloha. You're Cade McNown, buddy.
Oh my god.
He'll be if the XFL is around in 5 years, he might be lucky enough to play in that.
USFL is coming back.
And mind you, Shane does rock with Alabama football, so.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anybody like you guys are, if there's anybody that plays like competitive, Mike, you play competitive flag football. Like if you're looking for a quarterback, I might know a guy that's available in 3 years. If you guys are still playing. He's a lefty, about 5'6".
DJ, you see any improvements on Tua, man?
Disrespectful.
Yeah, like that's crazy. I need to see more. He seemed like he knew the offense better. Like watching him play the Bears, like he seemed like he knew the offense better. When they first threw him in there, of course it was bad.
Yeah, he showed it when he threw that pick into double coverage in the end zone.
I mean, that's decision making. Like you could still know the offense and you still make a bad decision, but that's the one thing that I can say. I feel like he knew the offense better. I still need to see more because, like Shane said, it's a lot of weapons down there. Their tight end is good. Not to do that play for the Bears. Yeah. Gesicki good, and so they got a lot of weapons, and so like it's pretty much set up. They defense is solid. They're a really good team. So really, like man, if he fails this year, then we can start like asking all those questions because you have everything that you need there to be a good quarterback. Like it's really like no holes offensively for that team, and so I need to see more. But what I did see is that he was more sure of the offense. Like he seemed like more in command of it. Now throwing the pick in double coverage, yeah, that's not good. But I still got to see more because even the games last year, like they wasn't throwing the ball a lot. They was running it when he was in, and his team did him a disservice because you coming off of 2 games where your offense lighted it up, and then for some reason y'all just put them in there. That tears away your locker room, and then that makes your team play differently. Because people could say all they want. Guys like football players are like creatures of habit. They kind of emotional. And so that shows up on the field. Like guys got to be all on the same page. And I feel like when they brought him in there last year, the team wasn't on the same page because they was winning games and scoring points with Fitzpatrick. And so for the rest of the season, it was like weird. Like they had a weird rest of their season. And so I think this year he's the starter. Can't tell you who their backup is, and he got hella weapons. So let's see.
Who was it?
Yeah,
Jacoby
that's a good
Brissett.
point.
Oh yeah,
There's
Brisket, my boy
Brissett.
Brisket.
Yeah.
But like,
There's really
I
no
don't think-
pressure on him this year to
Yeah.
get benched like there was last year for when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
lose
yeah.
a guy like Fitzpatrick's.
And Brisket is solid too. He's a solid backup. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Look, I mean, I'm some of the stuff I say is like excessive trolling, but like I just don't think you drafted this guy like what 5th overall. I mean, you expected him to be,
Was he the best high school prospect of all time?
he was, man. He absolutely was.
So
He was. His tape is incredible, but I mean, it's the NFL. It's a different game. It's a completely different game than college.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on. We'll carve out a little time real quick. We're gonna go back to Trevor Lawrence's teammate. We're gonna let Shane talk a little bit.
I'll keep this. I'll
kick it off.
I'll keep it quick. What a complete and utter embarrassment that you even brought this clown into your training camp. Like, what are you doing, Urban? What are you trying to prove? What was it for? Like, first of all,
listen. Anytime you can distract from your hotshot #1 overall pick that can change your franchise and turn your training camp into a circus, you got to do it, don't you?
Let's first of all let's be honest about something. Tim Tebow sucks at football.
Well, of course he does. He sucks at baseball too.
He's not good anymore. He has not been relevant on a football field.
He's never been good.
10 years.
Why the Tebow hate?
And then I'm gonna get to more of that in a minute. But I'm just talking from a football standpoint. In what world would this situation ever happen, where a guy that hasn't played in 10 years and you're gonna bring him in to play a different position? Like, what a clown act, man! Like, it's not even. And then what really pisses me the fuck off is the blue checkmark brigade was out in full force today. The Ross Tucker had a tweet that said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it said, if you're happy about Tim Tebow being cut, it says more about you as a person than it does about him. Go fuck yourself. What are we talking about here? He should be out on one of his missionary tours, stealing money, like he always does, giving some bullshit like fake deep Instagram inspirational Instagram quote speech that he does, where he makes millions of dollars doing that with the other Joel Osteens of the world. And like, you're taking the spot of somebody who probably makes 40 or 50 grand a year that's trying to grind for a roster spot, and then you bring on this clown, and then like all of a sudden he gets cut, and then like everybody's out saying oh, you did a great job, Timmy. Wait, you tried. We really respect that. Like, what the
this is first grade flag football here.
What are we doing here? And it's funny too, because I want to bring up another point that if you really think about it, the same people that were now saying that, and I saw thousands of these tweets today from the Blue Checks. This is legit. I'm not just coming up with this on my own. There are people that were saying that he's cut and he's not in the league because of his outspoken religious beliefs. Now, these same people said that Colin Kaepernick's not in the NFL because he's not good anymore, not for anything else. So keep that in mind. That is a real thing. The same people that are out today defending, why Tebow was cut, or you're happy Tebow was cut. Those same people said Kaepernick's not in the NFL because he can't play football anymore.
Yeah, listen, they're a bunch of dopes. To your point, you asked in what world any of this makes sense. The world where the Jaguars organization is run by clueless boobs who are trying to sell jerseys, which they accomplished because Tebow was top 5 in the league in jersey sales when they first signed him. You're exactly right about this idea that he's not in the league because he's too outspokenly Christian. It's the NFL, okay? Short of Colin Kaepernick getting blackballed, let's not pretend that Aaron Hernandez wouldn't still be in the league today if knowing full well he's a convicted murderer if teams were able to. So the blue check mark brigade, take the L on this one, guys.
Yeah, so get fucked.
Dog, you hilarious, dog. The whole thing about the Tebow thing is not even the fact that he's been out of the league for so long. and Urban gave him a chance. I guess I can understand Urban giving his boy a chance. But the one thing about Tebow,
why?
His whole life, his whole college career, everything was about effort. When they lost that game his junior year, and he gave that speech that nobody was ever going to work as hard as him and play as hard as him, and then you go back and you watch those clips of him trying to block somebody, and the effort was just like, for a guy trying to make.
He gave effort. He just stinks.
No, I didn't even see effort. It didn't even look like he knew what he was doing. Like, he didn't even try. And
that's what I'm saying. He was trying. He just had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, and it's sad because if he
I don't doubt the guy's heart. He seems like a nice guy, but I just go back to the fact I remember when the Patriots picked him up. There was a preseason game against the Bucs. He was 1 of 7 for negative yardage and a pick 6, and he still keeps falling upwards and getting chance after chance for no good reason.
Yeah, that throw he made. That throw he made.
That's
after he goes to try to play baseball and gets.
Shane, out of the league, that incomplete pass he threw that they showed for 15 minutes straight.
I'm talking about the slant that he threw to Demaryius Thomas. It was like an 8-yard slant that Demaryius Thomas caught and ran to the house. Yes. Still, in a playoff game, he's still taking credit.
You or I could have made that throw.
Yeah, what a joke, dude. What a joke. And then I'm telling you that the Blue Check Brigade came out in full force today defending this clown, and it's just a complete circus show. And again, like I will continue to say, like, it's the same people that are, why was, Tebow should be on an NFL roster, but Cap can't because he can't play. Sure.
Well, like I said, if those clips never came out, he'd probably still on the roster. I mean, Urban Meyer made a business decision.
That's a very good point.
Going to lose.
That's a very. I didn't even really register that. That's a very good point.
I don't know, bro, because I actually watched that game, and so, like, I saw that stuff happen live, and what was funny, because Mike had, like, asked me, and then I was like, nah, Tebow trash, because I saw him miss blocks, but, like, the thing that made the most sense to me as to why he should have got cut was, like, I don't think he knew what was going on, because it was 2 plays back-to-back where he ran routes, and it was somebody right next to him, and they threw the ball to the person right next to him twice. And I was like, bruh, no offense in the NFL puts 2 people in the same area. So you ran the wrong route twice. And I believe that the guy that was, like, next to him ran the right route, because it was no way that this guy was going to be open. And the guy was open, too. But the quarterback saw Tebow and was like, nah, I'm good. And that happened twice. So I was like, he don't even know the offense. Like, he don't even know what's going on and where he's supposed to be at. In addition to everything else that y'all said.
I mean, this same shit happened in baseball too, man. With his minor league career, you're taking away from somebody else, man. That's like it's just really. It was a
and not that you're exactly right. In baseball, you can at least understand it though. Like, what's the Mets, the AA team, the Rumble Ponies or the Binghamton Rumble Ponies? You can understand them keeping him around. To where it's like, hey, come to the ballpark tonight and you can see Tim Tebow, as opposed to having just massive amounts of empty seats. An NFL team, come on.
Yeah, just a complete clown show, man. And I wanted to get that off my chest because I would really, and I probably wouldn't even have like really said much if I didn't see like all these comments and tweets from. All these people, the right wing Ross Tuckers of the world that were just so, it says more about you as a pro. Okay, well, I guess, you know what? I'm fucking happy he's cut. I hope he cries his way all the way home.
Did anybody ask Clay Travis or Jason Whitlock what they think about this yet?
I'm sure there's a Clay Travis article coming out on Outkick tomorrow, detailing,
the NFL hates Jesus.
Yeah, sure, 100%. It's coming.
Hey, so man, we're gonna talk about one more thing, then we're gonna wrap. Staying on the theme of football, we're gonna talk about college football rankings came out. PJ, I see your brows going up as I mentioned college football. Talk to me about them rankings. Did you see anything that you thought shouldn't be there? Anything that caught you off guard? Any thoughts?
As as someone who loves college football to death, like there's no greater sport than college football. And it used to be exciting when you rolled out the top 10 preseason, like, who reporters or, these publications thought who were the best teams in the country. But now we get to the stage where we're starting to see the same 4 teams every year. So it's not like there's no excitement. Like there's no backing to it. There's no Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. I mean, you got the same teams, Clemson now. That's just it's becoming repetitive, and I think college football. I don't know if they can fix it, but it's like if you don't start seeing some other teams start to assert themselves and do kind of what Clemson did, but it's got to be more than just one team. But you got to see some more powers that become available. Michigan, somebody like other teams. I have to be Michigan out there because that's a team that has the ability to do so. But it's like I think college football is doing more harm than better right now because everything this playoff is just repetitive and the rankings are repetitive. So I saw it. I just breezed my eyes on it and looked right past it. Like it's a statement story. And if we get to the point where you get the last 2-3 weeks of the season and you got the same teams in the top 5, 6, the season just lose luster again.
You got to figure out a way for more incentives, man, because like when you talk about these bowl games too, like outside of the playoff, how many of these guys are just okay? You get to a bowl game and like even like mediocre guys now, like that guys that are going the 3rd, 4th round, they're sitting the game out. And I'm not saying I blame them. I'm just saying like you got to kind of figure out. You got to kind of figure out an improvement to the system.
It was bowl season. Bowl season pretty much. It's not like it was when we was growing up.
It's not like it was when we were growing up, man. It's just not the same anymore. And like
you might have an underclassman that's a stud that gets highlighted or something like that, or.
But I don't think like expand. First of all, they're going to expand the playoff. Like that's coming. That's inevitable. But I just don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's the answer. So what does that do? Like first of all, a lot of these playoff games, if you go back and look at like the scores of them, most of them aren't even competitive. Like you're getting that, like you get Notre Dame that always, when Notre Dame sneaks into that 4 seed, they get the shit kicked out of them. So I'm supposed to think that the 8 seed is going to put up a better game than the 1. I mean, Alabama was like a 19-point favorite over Notre Dame. That's insane. And like PJX said, like I don't really see that changing anytime soon. I mean, like there's these other programs, Michigan, Florida, Oregon, USC, like
Penn State.
Yeah, like even like Wisconsin, like these teams should be able to, at least have that one random year where they're right there at the top, right? They're right there with some of these powerhouses, and it's just not happening.
Well, they have Penn State not too long ago. Michigan in 2016, yeah.
Michigan State was been it and they still got curb stomped in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's no fault to Bama. So you got to run your program. You got to get the best players. But it's like when you put out the same stuff every year, people are going to eventually lose interest. I think the one thing that kind of got swept under the rug this past week was the SEC, not the SEC, but the ACC, Big Ten, and the Pac-12 is some type of alliance that they're trying to put together. And I think there you can see some incentive with scheduling. Now you might see some more primetime, bigger football games. But
I don't understand what Oklahoma and Texas are doing.
Money. Money. It's
always getting out in front of the curve here. Ultimately, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have 4 mega conferences that will break away from the NCAA altogether and just form their own league.
Yeah,
which from a Title IX perspective, I don't know how that's going to work.
I could see it, but then as somebody that kind of watches, some of the smaller programs, like Michigan every year plays like Eastern or Western Michigan, Central Michigan. Like I have a hard time believing that some of these bigger schools want to leave these little schools out to dry, because then these schools fade. Their football programs no longer matter if they go to these bigger alliance conferences. And I mean, it could happen. It's all about money and it's all about TV contracts. And that's why everybody is mad at the SEC and Texas and Oklahoma and what they're doing. It's always about the money, and the money is going to eventually ruin the sport.
Yeah, and then even with that, like, just making that congruent for all the other sports too. Like, it's just so much paperwork to go into it. Even though football is different already, because every school don't really have a football program like that. But yeah, I can see that happening, man. Like you said, it's the money, man. Like, but at least the players get the benefit more now. You know?
Man, I've always hated conference realignment, man. You go back years ago when the ACC and the Big East, and remember when they dismantled the Big East in basketball?
Yeah,
like they sent Maryland to the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Syracuse to the ACC, like that shit, man. Like,
yeah. I think like Cincinnati ranked number 8. They got a chance to go to the playoffs because these other teams at the top are going to beat up on each other. And then I also think it's going to be interesting that Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama all got new quarterbacks that's going to be starting. So although those teams are all loaded, we get a chance to look at like brand new like stars. And you got guys that's up for the Heisman, like Howell from
North Carolina.
Yeah. And then somebody else that I can't think of. But like Spencer, you got them.
Oklahoma.
There we go. And so like those is faces.
Yeah, can I ask why Notre Dame's ranked 9th?
I don't know. They gonna always get that. I don't know why, because like Shane said, they trash, and this ain't like 1993 or whatever.
Yeah, they're starting to get a quarterback that couldn't hack it at Wisconsin.
Come on.
He played though. He played. Yeah. Got a lot of defensive players coming back, so that's why.
I just for the record, the DJ's made a good point about those 3 teams that are all starting new quarterbacks. When me and Mike did our first show in June, I gave out Oklahoma at 8-1 to win the national championship, and I also said they are going to run the table. They are going to go undefeated this entire year. They're going to run the regular season table, and then they're going to win the national championship.
Fuck no.
They would be my preseason pick too. My only concern is just like, don't they always have at least one game where they trip over their own feet?
They do. Yep, 100%. Like they'll lose as like a 24-point favorite to Kansas State or something.
Yeah, Kansas State. That's what I'm about to say. Something like that. This thing. And Iowa State is supposed to be tough this year too.
But Oklahoma gets them at home. We talked about this, Mike. That's That's a big thing for me.
And Iowa State came in ranked higher a lot than I thought they was going to be too.
I know Iowa State. Don't sleep on Iowa State. They're ranked 7. I mean, they're tough.
Yeah, I didn't know they were going to come in that high. Yeah, man. I just even bringing college basketball into it, like these last 2 seasons of rankings has really just been paper champions. And I mean, it is paper champions every year, but especially with the COVID stuff and playing less games, it was for me. It's real hard to assess. It's like, man, 3 weeks in, okay, I could probably give you who I think my top 4 might be. We knocking off cupcakes along the way, but still, like at least you get to see.
I'll say, all this being said, though, man, there's nothing like college football Saturdays. I love it, especially now with we talked about this too, like with the all the fans being back in the stadiums, and like those college football home fields, man, it's fun.
We say we got it now. I bought tickets to Michigan, Ohio State, in Ann Arbor, but I got a strong feeling it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, we're gonna see, because what you said, that's in Michigan. So
when is that's like Thanksgiving weekend, right? Always.
Yeah, it look like we heading towards another shutdown. So we'll see how this football season.
Big Gretch, she don't play up in Michigan, so shout out Big Gretch. I know you watching. So I ain't a fan of your home state team, but I'm still rocking with you. You know what I'm saying? So I know Big Gretch out there watching. Yeah, man. August 28th is week 0. Still calling it week 0, right? For college football.
Hawaii week.
What'd you say? Hawaii week? Yeah.
Y'all the bet guys. What's the odds on Miami Hurricanes quarterback winning the Heisman? Where is he? Anybody know?
D'Eriq King?
Yeah.
Let's check it out real quick. And while we looking it up, don't forget we at Good If It Goes Jail tomorrow. Me and DJ. You never know who else might hop on. And as
I might have to jump on for a segment just so I can punch the clock.
Yeah, come on, man. Right now,
hit my quota.
Thursdays we got.
We're at an hour 40 right now, which means that's probably good for. What do you think? 2:15. I can mark that down.
So Thursday we got Good If It Goes Better. Also, me and Shane come log on and win some money.
Yeah, this week we'll be covering the NFC. Last week we did the entire AFC.
I'm looking now. De'Aaron King plus 2,000 on points bet.
That's I if you're gonna, what are you gonna do? Take $20 that you're gonna make that bet on, and take a lighter and light it on fire, and then step on it, because that's what it's doing.
20 to win you 420.
I wouldn't, bro. I think he's one of those players where Miami catch fire, you got a chance.
Miami catch fire. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
In that league, it's possible. Like I said, we'll see what Clemson look like. So we'll see.
Yeah, but this is all like I just talked about Oklahoma having a game where they trip over their own feet.
Miami,
you might as well name Miami. Yeah, you might as well rename that school the Trip Over Their Own Feet University.
Well, that's true. He got the seven shortest odds. So, and this is on points bet. So do your shopping for sure, and we can talk about it more. Good If It Goes Bet. Watch Good If It Goes Bets. I'm not giving away nothing more. Watch Good If It Goes Bets, man. I'm not giving away shit else. You gotta watch Good If It Goes Better, man. Oh. Yeah, man, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you to the guys. Keep tuning in. Shout out our fearless leader, Dequan Young, doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Don't make that face, man. Let me mute your ass again, man. Schwab, you gotta catch this straight. Mute the white guys one more time before we get out of here. Appreciate y'all for watching.
Hey, just for that, your time card's gonna be a little light this week.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all. Cut this thing go.
That shit felt good tonight.
Absolutely.
Hold on.